Good morning, sunshine. I hope this video finds you well, and I hope this is super useful to you because I know there's a ton of you that are struggling, and you might be without a teacher, or maybe you're with a teacher who's like newer, or who knows what the case may be. But this video is going to be so helpful to you. So, what we're going to be diving into today is how to teach yourself your program when there's no teacher teaching you. So, what does that mean? One of the biggest issues that like I have to hear about as an instructor is that there was nobody really there to teach you, right? Maybe you had theory one day a week, and then maybe that theory was like self-study a lot. And again, every school is very different with the way that they go through theory. But I have, broken down how to kind of maneuver through this book. So this is going to be a very, very, um, you know, informational video today. Always, I'm Miss B. I'm going to be your instructor for today. I am a licensed esthetician and a licensed aesthetic instructor. I'm also director of education at the Beauty Crew Academy that's located in Chicago, and I'm a ray of goddamn sunshine. So let's dive right into our little class here. So, you're in school. You're struggling. You have no idea what's what. Maybe you didn't get a syllabus. Maybe you didn't get a good enough breakdown of how to work this book. We're going to be focusing on Milady's standard aesthetics book and then their foundations book. Milady, like I've said before, is literally the best thing that ever happened to me as a teacher. It is one of the best curriculums. It's what State Board uses. Most State Board tests are gonna be based off of Milady. So sometimes I even will encourage people like pick a school that's using Milady. Most of them do, but there's a few that usually don't. So always double check what the book is, so you'll feel confident to pass that State Board. And of course, we always want to take, a program that's going to be catered to what that state board's about to give us. So, how you're going to work through your book is going to also depend, like the speed of what you're doing is going to depend on how long your program is, right? So, my 6 monthers, you might want to work through these chapters week by week. So, you could do one chapter a week. But if you are someone who is maybe doing like that year-long program, maybe you're part-time, you can kind of span this out. So maybe you could do one chapter and focus on it for 2 weeks if you really wanted to. So keep that in mind when you're starting to, open this book up and get into it. But for today, I will kind of give you more of a timeline for my 6 monthers. There are really, really good resources that Milady offers us, and the first one is the online program. So hopefully, you guys are having access to the online program. It is probably one of the best programs. It does look tricky when you like get on there, start to maneuver it, but honestly, once you like play around, poke around in there, you're going to see that there is so many things that will be useful to you as a student in that online program. But if you're old school, you can obviously always use your book. But I always encourage students to work through each chapter. There are modules, and basically what they do is they have you, do a little section, then do a quiz. Do a little section, do a little quiz, or maybe watch a video. If you guys are going through that and doing all of those requirements, you should feel really confident when you're going to take your state board. I feel like obviously reading is great and it's going to be at your advantage to read the book, but someone like me, maybe you like to actually watch the video, maybe you have a short attention span. Working through the online program to me keeps me kind of like interested, and I honestly think that it's beneficial for all students to do that, especially when you're, coming around and you're kind of done with your book. I always say go through each chapter again, work through those quizzes, because now you've heard, most of these theories once or twice. So now I want you to like really go in there, take those quizzes, and now it all will make sense because you're a novice esthetician. So a lot of these things are going to make zero sense to you, right? You've never done this. So it's really, really important that you, after you've heard every single chapter, to make sure to go one more round back around and actually like do these online quizzes or do your workbook, because it will all make sense once you're wrapping up your program, and passing state board will be so easy. So this is for you guys, my test anxious people. Read that damn book. I always say, you know what you know. Anything you don't know, let's focus on that now for like your senior portion of your program, right? So let's dive into tier one. So you are going to be reading each chapter and you're going to focus on this chapter for the week. So after you've read your chapter, I would like for you to go on to CIMA Online and I want you to start working through all those quizzes for yourself. If you don't have CIMA for some reason, you might have that little Milady workbook. I would encourage you instead to use that workbook. So focus on reading your chapter one for the first week and then do that workbook, do the quizzes. Okay, so first chapter you guys are going to focus on is going to be history and career opportunities. This is a very simple chapter. It's really important that you go through this and just kind of see what opportunities are available to you. You can read this pretty quickly, so if you wanted to challenge yourself, if you feel like you got a good grade, on the little practice test, I would encourage you to then dive into your foundations book and then get started on life skills. Again, this is a little bit more of an easier chapter. We like to give this right off the bat because it gives you a really good sense of like what you're about to dive into, what we're about to be like, broadening our horizons on. So those two chapters are pretty simple. So I challenge you to do those both in the first week. Then we have chapter two, which is professional image. Again, it's very like fundamental information. And it's just kind of like letting you know what the industry is going to expect of you, and the way you act and the way you kind of, put yourself out there in the industry. Then for your week three, I would like you to focus on your foundations book and go into communications. So again, more of a simple chapter, easy to go through, easy to work through. Next, you're going to go into, for week four, your chapter four, which is going to be in your foundations book, and it's going to be infection control. This one is big, right? This is going to be a lot of state board. So this one, I really want you to not only read it, know it front to back, take those quizzes, log into Milady, do all those activities, and try to challenge yourself on this section because it's very important. Next, we have chapter 5. That's going to be skin analysis, and that's going to be in your aesthetic book, your standard book. Oh my God, this chapter is like crucial. I'm going to do a entire YouTube just on skin analysis alone because it is one of the most important chapters and it's the most important for you as an esthetician. So really dive deep into skin analysis. The cool thing with CIMA, the online version, is that the skin analysis chapter has so many videos. So I feel like everyone needs to go in there. There's nothing that drives me more crazy when I know my students haven't watched the videos or done the deep dive on there because there's so much information, and me as a teacher, I can tell that you didn't log on there and watch it. Honestly, I can completely tell. Most schools are going to assume that you're reading this chapter prior to class. So when I'm in class and I'm teaching and I'm asking you questions, I know like, oh, they haven't cracked that book open. Or I can tell because I'll say, well, didn't you watch, the video? And everyone's like, what the hell are you talking about? So make sure that you are definitely, especially for this portion, going in onto CIMA and doing the case studies, doing the essays, doing the little quizzes. We do a deep dive on Fitzpatrick scale on there, which is huge for us, for an esthetician. They show sensitive skin on there. They show treating skin of color. They show about the neckline décolleté. It's going to even have a rubric that you can print out, download on your computer that's going to show you the full breakdown of what you should be doing. So how to perform the skin analysis. They go into contraindications, which is the biggest part of being an esthetician. It goes over, causes of skin conditions, examples of skin conditions. So there's nothing that drives me more crazy than someone who is not doing the work. I have very little patience for someone who doesn't do the work, who thinks they're just going to kind of fly by the seat of their pants. So make sure you're going on there and definitely doing all those quizzes and that deep dive on there. Next, we have our chapter 7, which is going to be the treatment room. Again, this is a very important chapter because it's going to show you how you should be setting up your room. It's going to tell you this is how long you should be taking to kind of like flip your room over. So that means, cleaning up in a timely fashion, making sure everything is completely and totally sanitized and ready for the next person. This is like, the biggest part of our business. And that's why also with the treatment room chapter, you know, once you're like on the clinic floor, this chapter comes into play because you should already know, I'm expecting 10 to 15 minutes max included into your service time of you flipping that room. And when you're on the clinic floor, that's the real test because if you're someone who's busy, you're going to say like, holy crap, like I am rushing my ass to hurry up and flip this room because I already have a client sitting outside ready for me. I still got to get all my product for this client. So it kind of helps you get used to the idea of like how you should be moving, once you're out on your own. The treatment room chapter too, it's pretty, I like it. It just kind of gives you like a rundown of like what you're gonna need in your room, what kind of equipment you're gonna need. It's gonna let you know how to like manage your supplies, how to, get like your products up and ready, how to create, your facial bar, your station. It shows you videos on how to prepare your treatment room. It shows you how to properly clean and disinfect your treatment room, which is a really big thing. It also is going to let you know how to prep your treatment room, prepare. It's going to show you videos. It's going to show you, you can actually print out the whole the entire procedure on prepping your room so you can kind of like take it with you in the treatment room if you need, and how to clean up and prepare for the next one. So there's post-service videos, prep videos, rubrics there for you. So again, a lot of really, really good information on the treatment room chapter. Our next chapter that I'd like you guys to really pay attention to is going to be our chapter 8, which is facial treatments. Facial treatment chapter to me is a really fun one. I always enjoy teaching that one. But again, it's going to basically go down into let's see, the importance of certain facial treatments for all skincare services. It's going to describe the benefits of those facial treatments. It's going to show you videos on how to prep your client for treatment, which is again a huge part of our business. It's going to help you understand the basic steps of the facial. It's going to help describe how to consult clients on that home care, which is again a big, big one. It's also going to help you kind of try to create an outline for treatment goals of all the 6 skin types and conditions. There's going to be videos on how to treat sensitive skin, rosacea, men, how to perform acne facials. It's going to show you how to remove lipstick. It's going to help you how to remove eye makeup. It's going to help you learn how to perform your basic facial. So there's videos on exfoliation, on masking, on steaming, on extractions. There's videos on basically everything. And of course, they still will give you a rubric of that breakdown. So this is definitely the biggest chapter that you will be paying attention to, your chapter 8. Next, you are going to wrap up your first tier of chapters with chapter 3, which is physiology and histology. And again, this is a big one. This is a lot of our state board stuff, right? So that is going to go right into, learning about physiology and histology of the skin, why it's going to make you better. It's going to help you distinguish the 6 functions of the skin. It's also going to help you understand each layer of the skin, what we're able to work on. It's going to help you understand hair follicles and hair structure and nail structure. It's going to help you understand, what's influencing this client's skin health. And again, it's definitely foundational and it's definitely introductory information that's going to help you understand once you take like a more in-depth course with whatever skincare line you're about to, bring on. I know a lot of students get upset and they say, I didn't learn anything. You are learning it because the wording and all of this information is building up your foundation that you're going to keep building off of. And what's nice is a lot of these skincare companies, they're going to give you that education, that deeper dive pertaining to their product. Milady cannot be product specific because they're not with a brand. They're strictly for teaching students, and I feel like they have really great curriculum. So keep that in mind. Don't think that you're not learning, because you'll be surprised. When I see you guys graduating, I'm like, yeah, she knows what she's talking about now. It's all clicking, it's all making sense for her. So don't think that you aren't learning. We are going to be learning from here until forever. There's no way around it. We're going to be taking more classes, and we're going to be more, taking classes that are going to be towards, the product that we're actually going to use, because they're going to teach me how to create that series. What's the best serum? What's going to tackle this? What's going to tackle that? So now is a really good time to start diving deep into what skincare line you're going to be bringing on, because you definitely are going to want to learn that now versus like once you're out of school, because there's nothing worse than not being educated in the line that you're actually using. Okay, so when you're in aesthetic school, you basically are considered kind of like a freshman the first 8 weeks, right? After 8 weeks, you're probably hitting around 150 hours, and by that point, you should already know how to do a basic facial. If you're in school and it's 150 hours and you don't know how to do a basic facial, we got to get on it, sis, because you're falling behind at this point. So by now, you should know how to do a basic facial. That's like kind of the main thing at this point. And so what happens is, now we'll dive into it, our tier 2 of the chapters that I want you to start focusing on, which is going to be, first one up is going to be chapter 9, facial massage. Again, facial massage is a really important part of our service. With facial massage, that chapter, what you're going to learn is Milady's standard on that facial massage. What happens in school too is sometimes you'll learn Milady's, or sometimes you'll learn Milady's and maybe like the school has a signature massage. It just depends. Like, I know when I went to school, we just did Milady's massage. And then when I was teaching at a school, we had our own signature one, which was really nice. So again, every school is going to be very different. And you basically are going to learn your school's technique. And then once you're out of school, that's when you're like, well, actually, I encourage, my students to start picking up better techniques and, kind of elaborating on different options. So it's definitely important to just start looking into facial massage courses, like more advanced courses, someone like an IS Touch, right? Like, we're trying to learn, lymphatic drainage through the face. We're trying to learn how to sculpt the face. There's obviously plenty of people who do amazing facial massages. There's obviously companies too that are really like in depth with that. So start looking into that, start watching videos, and try incorporating that in your facials now. Because again, it's a really, really good tool to have. Like, you can literally change someone's face just off of a facial massage. But yeah, you will learn Milady's massage technique just to start with, and you can kind of build up off of that. They're going to dive into like benefits of massage, contraindications for massage, the types of massage movements that we use as estheticians. They'll also let you know how to incorporate that massage during your facial. They also have procedure videos, which is again amazing. You could download it straight onto your laptop if you needed to. And then they'll give you a little rubric on just like the little breakdown of like what you would need when you're ready to like perform that facial massage. So yeah, that's again another great chapter to pay attention to. Next, we have anatomy and physiology. And oh my God, I hate teaching this chapter. To me, it's so boring. It's very basic. It's very like high school, like anatomy, I feel like. It's super fundamental. It does seem daunting. For me as a teacher, like I already know, like this is my longest chapter. Sometimes I'll break it into 2 weeks because I'm like, everyone is bored as hell. I don't want to like lose my students. So I kind of like break it in half. And then sometimes I have students who are like, no, give it to us all today, this week. Like, we just want to get this chapter over with. But again, it's a very important chapter. Do take your time to like read through it and understand why we need to know this, anatomy and physiology as an esthetician. You're going to learn literally fundamental. So, like basic structures of cells, tissues we have in our body, our organs, our body systems. You're going to learn like the skeletal system, the muscles, nerves that we have, circulatory systems. Again, it's really nice because there are so many videos and they're never more than like 5 minutes. So it's so easy to like read through, watch the videos, and then wrap up the chapter. But it is an important one. So again, just make sure you're actually reading it because I'm sure there'll be some of those questions too on State Board. I'm like working on the PowerPoint for theory on anatomy and physiology for you guys so I can like teach you. And oh my God, I dread it. I dread teaching it in school. I dread making it right now. It's driving me crazy. I hate that chapter. Okay. Next chapter we have would be hair removal. So again, hair removal chapter is very important. Again, some schools teach you to wax, some don't. So the biggest thing is going to be obviously understanding how to do it, prep work. I think they have pretty good videos. I want to say they show a video on what is it, like a bikini? I always forget. It's like a bikini, but there's really, really good demos on YouTube. So again, when you have that, when you're in that room and you feel like you don't have that teacher, or maybe their teacher's not like a waxer, and that happens a lot. So um, make sure to like, you have the tools. You still are going to have the waxer, even though maybe someone's not showing you perfectly. The tools are there. If you know you want to be a waxer, this is the time that you need to start looking into wax companies that estheticians rant and rave about. So it's going to be like a mermaid wax. It's going to be like, like Nova wax, relax and wax. There's a ton of like wax girlies out there, and they're more than willing to share their technique, and then you like do them a favor and buy their wax products because there's a ton of them. And waxing products have gotten so much better. They're constantly evolving. So start digging deep, and you're gonna have to buy it, girly. Like, this is the one thing, especially like when it comes to like waxing, lash lift, anything. I get it. Everyone's in school, so we're kind of like low on money. But you have to think, once you're out of school, you're gonna have to you need to practice with the good product now because you need to know how to work your product. That's like the biggest thing. So the quickest way to discourage yourself and then knock yourself out of the aesthetic game in general is to not invest in quality products, because when you're not investing, it's working against you. Now you get discouraged because this product is shit. I need a product that works on everyone across the board. I'm not playing a guessing game. I'm not a rookie. I've done it. I'm doing it. I need a product that's going to work on thin hair, thick hair, coarse hair, kinky hair, whatever hair. I need it to work on everyone. And the only way you're going to find that product that speaks to you and that works really well is by buying things and trying it out. Getting that wax pot, getting the right wax pot, getting that right wax, getting the right prep. Without that, I get it. Everyone's like, well, the school should get it. Yeah, they should, but they're like on a budget. Typically, they're going to order from like a beauty salon, supply shop. So it might not be the best thing. And that's where you have to kind of like start grabbing things that you like and cherry picking products. When I was in school, when I went there literally to learn lashes. The product was fine. It wasn't anything great, but I didn't have access to that product if that teacher wasn't in the building. So what did I do? I was broke as hell, and I bought myself a damn $165 kit, and I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna learn with this and figure it out. I didn't want the junk because I knew the junk was gonna work against me and slow me down. Everyone else who bought junk, they never touched lashes ever again. Why? Because they got so frustrated and they gave up. Me, I got the good stuff, it worked, and then I had the ball rolling. So again, keep that in mind. There's no excuses. If you want this, you're going to figure it out and you're going to get it done. So, let's see. With your chapter 11, your hair removal, you're going to learn about hair, structure of hair growth cycle, causes of excessive hair growth. You're going to learn about different hair removal methods. You're going to get your wax intake form. You're going to get your wax release form, how to do a consultation. You're going to learn how to do your wax consultation. They'll show you a video. They'll show you infection control, how to clean. They're going to show you how to wax head to toe, the do's and don'ts. They're going to also show you how to tweeze a brow. They're going to show you a demo on it, and they're going to have the procedure that you can actually print out, the little rubric. They're going to show you how to wax a brow with hard wax, how to wax the lip with hard wax. They're going to also include those videos for you. They show you how to do a chin wax, underarm, men's chest, men's back, a bikini, an arm and hand wax. They're also going to show you soft wax procedures and all the equipment you need for that. And then again, how to perform all those services with soft wax. There's rubrics, there's videos. So again, there's no excuses. We have the tools in front of us. Now it's our turn to start doing the damn thing, right? Okay. So after you guys are done with your hair removal chapter, you guys are going to jump right into your foundations book and jump into chapter 6 for chemistry. So chemistry, again, it's kind of a boring chapter. We all have to do it. Chemistry is basically going to be breaking down structures of chemical structures, explaining the difference between solutions, suspensions, and emulsions. That for us as estheticians is important because it's gonna, help you determine like what type of like moisturizers you're using for like specific clients. It's gonna show you just like very fundamental, again, like pH. That's really important for us as an esthetician. We need to understand the pH and like our products, like the pH scale. It's also going to go into neutralization and redox reactions, which is again important for us as an esthetician because we need to understand like what these like lash lifting products are doing, what these brow lamination products are doing to our client, because it is a chemical service. So again, keep that in mind. You will be learning that. It's a very short chapter, so if you wanted, you could probably knock out both chapter 6s in a week. So the next chapter I would want you to go into is chapter 6, skincare products. This is a fun chapter. Everyone really enjoys it. Let's see, let me pull up my little curriculum and what we go into on that. So for skincare products, basically what we're going to dive into is how the products are actually working and why these ingredients are significant to you as an esthetician. We're going to go over regulations, laws, product safety, understanding cosmetic ingredients and the sources of them. You're going to know how to describe the main types of ingredients in cosmetic chemistry, identify beneficial ingredients for those skin types and conditions. You're going to be able to select appropriate products for facial treatments and home care. You're also going to know how to recommend home care and then how to choose that professional skincare line that you're actually going to want to go with. So again, it's kind of a shorter chapter. It's a fun chapter. So pay attention to that. It is very beneficial to you as an esthetician. Next chapter you're going to go into is going to be electricity and safety. Again, another boring ass chapter. Sorry, my lady. It's like we have like we have to like mix the fun ones in with like the boring ones just to kind of like keep everyone interested. But again, it's very fundamental. It's a short chapter. You do want to learn it. It is important. The reason why I always tell my students this chapter is important is because you need to know kind of like the fundamentals of that like electrical safety. You want to understand like, is this, machine I just bought on Amazon gonna like burn my goddamn storefront down? Is it like cleared for me to actually be using this thing? Because there's a lot of modalities that you can buy on Amazon and that like might blow your fuse or whatever. So this is a good chapter to understand that. The next chapter you'll go into is going to be my favorite, which is Facial Devices and Technology, chapter 10. I like this chapter because it helps me kind of go in a little deeper into what we're actually using. So you'll learn the importance of all the devices we use. You're going to understand like what the electrotherapy is, what your hot towel cabinet is, your mag lamp, your woods lamp, your rotary brush, basically everything we have on the 8 function machine. This is a chapter that dives a little bit deeper into it and like why we're using it, and then the order we're going to be using it in. A fun activity I like to give to my students is I have them research equipment, and then they show us the top 3 pieces of equipment they'd like to bring on. We go over the pricing of it, the benefits of it. So that's kind of fun to start like looking into as well. Then we also are going to learn how to care for the steamer, making sure that it doesn't break, making sure it stays clean. We're going to learn how to do disincrustation, galvanic, high frequency, and then again, there's always rubrics, so you can kind of like go back to that and double check that you're doing everything correctly. So after we wrap up this tier of chapters, at tier 2, to me, you're considered like there's like lowerclassmen and upperclassmen. There's like freshmen, lowerclassmen, and upperclassmen for me. That's how I consider them. So my freshmen, my co-instructor will go with them for the first like 8 weeks. She gets them ready for me. And then once you come to me at like your 9-week mark, I consider you my lowerclassmen. And then once you're done with these chapters, now you're my senior. So that's always exciting for everyone to be called my little senior. So everyone loves to be my senior because then they know like the end is near. We're almost done wrapping up this book. Usually by this point, I believe you are at, oh God, let me double check how many hours you would be at. So when you're wrapping up your like freshman portion, you're like at 150 hours. Once you're kind of wrapping up your like now you're my lowerclassmen, you're wrapping up at 300 hours. So by now, you'll know how to do your machine facial, your 8-function facial. You'll know how to wax at this point. And then my seniors, now we're going to be diving into, are more advanced things. Now you're more on the clinic floor. I'm not seeing you as often because now you're kind of doing your thing. You feel at home now. So that's when we'll do 2 bigger projects once you're my senior. So once you hit your senior status, you are going to dive right into chapter, your foundations book, and go into your healthy professional chapter. Again, this is a very simple chapter. I like that we have like some like heavy duty chapters, and then we have a little bit more simple chapters. It kind of helps students because maybe you feel like you're falling behind, and then these like easier chapters kind of help you get back on track. So with your healthy professional, it's just going to break down like how to like keep your body safe, how to practice like good like health, when it comes to like nutrition, how to take a sick day, and knowing your immunity, starting to understand what are like beauty professional health issues that we run into, ergonomics, things like that. So it's a super quick chapter, so nothing to stress about. Then after our healthy professional, we're going to go into are, let's see, diseases and disorders. So this is kind of a fun chapter. I like it. I feel like everyone obviously needs to understand this information because you're going to start to see some things when you're in the treatment room. So definitely pay attention to this. Again, it kind of helps you be set apart from your competition to have a deeper understanding of diseases and disorders of the skin. So you're going to learn, how you can work with a dermatologist collaboratively. You're going to learn how to understand primary, secondary, tertiary skin lesions. There's videos again to kind of show you that. There's going to be a chapter on recognizing skin changes that can indicate some type of skin cancer. We start learning about skin cancer here. We're going to learn about the types of acne, which is big. I love this part. I always give a really fun activity for the types of acne. You're going to describe symptoms of PO, PCOS, you're going to learn about vascular conditions, you're going to learn about pigmentation disorders, about dermatitis, about hypertrophy. Trophies, so why can I say that? The 9 contagious skin and nail diseases, mental health conditions that can manifest as skin conditions, and then just recognizing, your gland disorders, skin conditions related to skin disease, and so forth. So, again, a very crucial chapter to pay attention to. Next, you'll learn chapter 12, which is makeup essentials. And oh my God, it's such a long chapter. It's very repetitive. We always are kind of dying when we have to do this chapter because it's just like fully breaking down. Like, honestly, it's like breaking down like what blush means and what eyeshadow means. So to us, it's always a little bit goofy. It does go into color theory. It goes into like coordinating makeup, understanding face shapes, which is kind of fun. Understanding like the different types of cosmetics and the uses of them, how to prep your makeup station, how to do a thorough consultation with your client, how to use like highlighting and contouring. How to create makeup looks for special occasions, for camera, special events, camouflage makeup. Again, how to tint lashes, which is fun. How to perm videos is also included. So that's fun too. Milady also included lash extensions in this chapter along with the lash perming. So it's definitely a deeper dive into makeup, but it also kind of goes into getting those lash extensions, tinting lashes, tinting brows, and it includes those videos. So that's a fun chapter. Usually we have like guest makeup artists come in, or we do like makeup challenges, and there's always like one student who's like an amazing makeup artist. So that's always fun to like learn from them as well. So once you wrap up your makeup chapter, then we're going to go into advanced treatments, which is chapter 13. And I actually really like advanced treatments. Again, it's just like a deeper dive into like all the cool tools you see online and on Instagram. We're going to learn about like chemical peels. We're going to learn about how to safely do a chemical peel and what they mean. We're going to learn about microderm. We're going to learn about laser, just very fundamental on laser. We're going to learn about the benefits of light therapy, microcurrent, ultrasound, ultrasonic, microneedling, and nano infusion. You're going to learn about spa body treatments like stone massage. You're going to learn about how to address cellulite. You're going to learn about the benefits of manual lymph drainage. You'll also learn how to perform enzyme masks. There's videos on that, how to do back facials, how to do light peels, glycolic peels. And there's also videos too on the microderm. So that's why I was like telling you guys earlier, like I've told you in the past video where as an instructor, say we've done this chapter, right? It's advanced treatments. You've already done it. If maybe a microderm client walks in, you're my senior, you've never done one. At the end of the day, you still have to perform it because not only have you probably seen it live in person, it is in your book. There is a video, there is demo. You have to do it. Like there's all the information is there, all the tools are there. I have expected that you as a student have read this chapter, you pass the test, you have to now do it live in person on somebody. So again, all like if you have like all these tools available to you, usually schools will have the microderm there, they'll have the ultrasonic scrubber there, they're going to have microderm, they're going to have multiple microderms, sometimes you'll have a hydroderm if you're lucky. It's there for you to practice on each other, play with each other, like do it on each other, do it on family and friends. So when it's go time, you're ready to go and you can't turn that client away. So always make sure you know these tools inside and out because your clients are going to ask you, what is this doing for me? So read the menu that your school offers, read the things that are available to the outside outside customers because they're going to ask you, well, what can I do next? Because usually the service is so cheap, they're going to rebook and they're going to want to know, well, I want to do this and that next time. What should I book for that? They're going to expect you to know that. So pay attention to not only the tools that you're going to be working with and understanding them, but understanding your school's menu. Like I used to do peels all the time. I used to do a million microderms when I was in school. I did a ton of facials. So the reason we have that for students is not to freak you out or make you feel like insecure. No, it's like to prepare you because you're gonna be offering these services, and it's fine to mess up here when you have your teacher here to lean on and have like other students to lean on. But you don't want to be leaving school never having done any of these things, not having a good understanding of these things, because then you will honestly never take state board and you will never be an esthetician, and that's just a waste of money at that point. Now, chapter 8 is our next chapter, which is career planning. So, usually, chapter 8, 9, and 10, I will make my students just read that on their own and just work through all the quizzes because they are really short chapters. So, it's career planning, it's on the job, and then it's the beauty business. Sometimes I'll do chapter 10 with my students because that one I feel like I have good information on. I'm gonna post all these, theories up on YouTube. So you'll kind of hear what I tell my students when I go over that chapter. Um, but again, like I told you guys before, people will say, we didn't learn anything about business in school. And I'm like, chapter 8, 9, and 10 literally has everything on there. Like it literally down to like how you should be like doing like a salon layout. It lets you know, how you should start thinking about like your business plan. It lets you know the difference between like renting or like being like a 1099. So the information is on there. You just have to kind of work through those chapters and do all the activities. Usually, some activities I do for my students with 8, 9, and 10 is I make everyone do mock interview and I ask questions that I know. I put the questions that I know are going to be asked on there from their future employer. I make them all do a mock and then kind of like rate each other on it. I also will do how to create basically just create a spreadsheet for me, like listing down every single thing you're going to have to buy the minute you're out of school. So that's going to be the bed, the sheets, the disposables. And I want them to not only list it all out, but write the whole price point for every single thing they're about to get and then tally it up, because we need to know like, wait, how much money am I actually going to be spending, right? Like, do I need to take that extra course? Do I need to factor in rent? Like, I want that all laid out because you need to know before you leave here how much money you're about to spend. Because a lot of people, I notice some students are really good about it where they're still working while they're in school. So they'll buy like the towel cabbie, then they'll buy this, then they'll buy that. So they're slowly doing it. But that's like a really big part that you guys need to like start working through and figuring out. Another thing I have them do is I will actually have them search jobs that they think that they'll apply for. So I tell them to search for their like, give me 5 jobs, tell me what the requirements were, tell me what they're willing to pay you, and then tell me now where your head's at. Like, how do you feel with these opportunities that are in front of you? Do you feel confident about that? Like, now are you thinking like maybe I should go solo? Like, again, just trying to get you to think critically about what's the next step, because when you're working through this program, it's all steps, right? Like, you took the step to enroll. All right, cool, now we're in. Now you're taking the step to like understand like what I'm doing, what services I'm offering, what am I actually good at. You're taking the steps on like making your website, making your resume, and like you need to start going naturally through the motions, because then you'll notice everything all comes together at the end. So keep that in mind. So after you have wrapped up your chapter 8, 9, and 10, then you're done. So usually at the end of chapter 10, my students are usually around I would want to say like around 500 hours at this point, which means we have 250 hours left. So we work through the entire book. Since we have 250 hours left, what happens is my seniors are kind of like basically just on the floor taking clients, working on each other, working on freshmen. I'm having them work on resumes, cover letters, they're working on a website, they're working on setting up their Instagram. I also add, your school might not have it because it is extra money. Our school invested in it. Milady has a couple of chapters that are called it's called Beauty as a Business. So usually when my seniors have wrapped up chapter 10 and we're at like the 500 mark, I'll give them a week to kind of chill, take clients, relax. Their head has been in this book for like, the last couple months. I give them a week off. I always call it the chill week because the week after that is usually when my new starts start. So that means I'm getting a whole batch of new girls. So I give them a week to kind of like decompress, work on each other, not have like all these deadlines thrown at them. And then once our new starts start, I'm going to get them onto beauty as a business. So, beauty as a business is a really good chapter. It's pretty cool. Basically, it does like a little bit of a deep dive into Instagram, Pinterest, and websites. So, that would be the next step for my seniors. I want them to really understand, their website, their Instagram, how to do giveaways, contests. Google My Business is also on there, which is really cool. They just added TikTok. I don't believe we had access to it just yet. They have the Pinterest, like I mentioned. So it's really good. It's easy to work through. As a teacher, any of my teachers on here wanting to know, that's if you have it, I would implement it. You could even do it as self-study for your girls, or for your girls and men. They're good chapters, and it keeps your students busy. I hate when students are not busy. That's when the drama is like a brew. When they're not having homework, when they're not having activities, when I'm not making them do something, that's when problems are starting to happen because people are not stimulated, they're bored, they're just laying around, they're not doing anything. So those are really good chapters to kind of start implementing as well for your students. Now, once you guys, because not only are you guys wrapped up with all the chapters, maybe you don't have beauty as a business and you have a lot of downtime. What I encourage my students to do is I say if there's a chapter that you didn't understand, usually we'll just let you sit through it again. So we'll say, well, my co-teacher's downstairs, she's teaching that theory. Go head down there and go sit in on that, and don't be disruptive. Pay attention, listen. And you could do that. You can usually get through the entire book, like usually, yeah, about the entire book, one more round while you're still in the program. So there's no excuse for you not knowing this information because we go through it twice almost. So yeah, keep that in mind. Now, for any of my fellow instructors that might be on here, I just wanted to let you know that again, breaking down the tiers or modules for your students, it's going to vary, it's going to be different. We found that this was like the best way to go through it. The teacher was like kind of broke it down this way and I loved it, our lead instructor. And I was like, wow, this is like, it makes sense. It helps them feel, like things are making sense in the order that we're presenting it. We were keeping freshmen away from everyone for the first 8 weeks, which is honestly, if you can do it, if you have a co-instructor, for us, it's definitely a better way of going about the program. When we do it this way, they're not learning bad habits from my seniors, right? They're not learning the bad habits from the seniors that are about to leave. Because you know how it is, you never know what kind of group it is. And sometimes when someone sees someone else doing like being lazy, walking out, doing whatever, it just gives them the sense that they can start doing that too. And we don't want that. So we found that doing it this way, now it's just a better transition through each tier, and then it's just like a lot less issues. We don't find that people were like, I guess, fighting as much, even though some people were like, I don't know, like now there's too much of a separation. Now they're clicky. They're not clicky actually. Once those freshmen joined me for that next tier, I noticed that like everyone kind of blends in nicely. Everyone knows the drill. I noticed too that the freshmen, if they would see seniors like acting up, being lazy, to them they were like, ugh, don't want to associate with that. Like that's not me. My head's in the game. They seemed more structured and they were not trying to go that route. And of course, then anyone that's a little bit lazier, anyone that's not an ideal student, they slowly graduate. They're out the door, and then it just keeps that cycle of just like the stability, the encouragement is just like getting through this program together, working as a team. This was definitely the better option for us as a school. So yeah, if you feel like one chapter a week is just like insanity to you, it drags it out way too long, feel free to do 2 chapters a week. You can do that. It is a little more accelerated. We don't encourage that for like the freshmen because they're stressed. It's a lot for them. They're kind of freaking out right away. They're like, "Wait, this is a lot of homework, especially if you're assigning all the SEMA." So if you wanted, I would maybe encourage doing from the tier 2, tier 3 group 2 chapters a week, doing that fresh, usually theory that first day of the week, is gonna keep, they're ready to learn. They had their weekend, and then maybe doing the second chapter midweek, obviously demos in between, right? So say we did Mondays and maybe we're a Monday to Friday school, theory on Monday, theory on Wednesday, Tuesday, Thursdays, demos, and then swapping on each other. And then again, like Fridays, Saturdays usually are the days where we're like, find someone from the night class, find someone that you haven't worked on and work on that and work on everything we learned this week. Um, for my fellow teachers as well, if you're still listening, with SEMA, sorry, students, sorry that I'm going to bombard you with teacher talk now. This is the teacher's lounge at this point. For my teachers, if you notice that your students, maybe you want to do the 1 chapter a week, right? So what I would do is I would do the chapter beginning of the week. We did theory together. And then on the next day, I would assign homework. So I would assign 2 to 3, sometimes 4 activities that they have to do throughout the week and that will be due the following week. So I assign the homework in the morning. And then after I assign the homework, then I'm going to have them present the homework that was from last week. So for me, I found that led to way less distraction, because again, people get bored. They need the stimulation. They need to think critically. They need to understand this book. The reason why students complain so much is because they're not feeling challenged. Of course, some people are going to fight the challenge because they're like, wait, I don't want to do that much more. I just want to read the book and take the quiz and call it a day. But they need it. And what I like to do is I try to source things that are like fun, not too heavy, not too much homework, because I know some of them have kids, they have a life, I don't want to stress them out, but I try to pick things that are gonna like get them thinking and that's gonna be beneficial to them, right? So I use obviously a lot of Milady's activities, those are really great. And then I incorporate a lot of my own. Again, just to get them thinking, just to get them in the book. I actually had uploaded onto SEMA. I uploaded Skin Scripts manual. I uploaded Images manual. I also uploaded, ours came with Dermalogica, so Dermalogica was already on our SEMA. But I updated the Skin Script and Image because I assigned them homework for chapter, what is it? I was in our chapter 6, I believe, for skincare products. I assigned them homework to do. So basically, I'll say, I want to see, a treatment series. So not only including what I'm using in protocol for that specific skin condition, I want not only that broken down to me, but I want to see, what are you going to give her? What 3 things are you selling her and why are you selling it to her? So again, and I would assign it for all the skin conditions and all the skin types. And sometimes I get the eye roll, but honestly, again, it's beneficial to them. I know they're going to use Skin Script. It's cost effective. It's a great line to start off with. It gets pretty good results. You can obviously cater it to like whatever your school uses. Of course, our school had their own skincare line, but I already knew most likely they're going to start stocking on Skin Script, on Image, on whatever. So I would assign that. I also would make them obviously make their like Glymed account, make an account with like Skin Script, make an account with all the skincare lines, because again, I want them to be going in there. And if they're a senior and maybe you don't have beauty as a business, then you're logging in on there and you're going to go listen to those webinars, because there's a million webinars and there's no excuse for people feeling that they're not getting that education. They're not getting that like product knowledge that they want, because it is all there. You just have to assign it. They just need us to obviously hold. So I found that a lot of the frustration with students basically stems from like there's no stability. You guys know how it is, and sometimes obviously it's very hard to keep staff on, especially if like, personalities, and obviously there's a lot of teachers that maybe shouldn't be teachers, and it is such a hard job. Like it's not even just hard because of obviously like the drama and whatever, and like always putting out those fires, but it's just stressful because it's like a constant like putting out fires. Like there's times where I'm like, there has not been not 1 minute where we haven't just been okay and not having to deal with like basically resolving issues. Like, so right now what I notice with the students is obviously the frustration, and teachers get frustrated too because now we're pulling doubles, we're working day and night to kind of like compensate for like people quitting and whatever. So yeah, I feel like, I mean, I can't judge anyone who quits because I too, left. And I left, and honestly, I think my job is one of like a really really good job. I consider, when I talk about my teaching position, I'm like, the job is awesome, the pay is great. I'm just like, I just had to emotionally take a break because you're not only dealing with the drama, but then you feel for your students too, because there's obviously, they go through things, they're moms, and there's someone's sister, there's someone's daughter, and you feel bad for them, you feel for them. So it is pretty taxing on someone, mentally and emotionally. And, you know, I left my position knowing that there was coverage, but I don't think if there was coverage, I wouldn't have left. I probably, of course, would have stayed. But I feel like I had ideal working conditions, and it was still very hard for me. Um, but yeah, just as long as we're keeping them, engaged and motivated, and I come in bright-eyed, bushy-tailed every goddamn day, and sometimes even that wasn't enough. So that's when I figured, keeping them busy with all those activities was more useful. Another thing that I was doing was I try to keep the clinic busy. And again, I'm not sure how your school is and if you do Groupons or whatnot, but our services are obviously pretty cheap. We're in the city. We're actually in a great spot in the city. So what I would do is I would just post on like Salon Apprentice, like looking for models for the girls. I would also post on like mom Facebook groups, like from the neighborhood. I would also post on like my social media because I actually have like kind of a bigger following on social media. So I posted on there a lot. And that always gets the clinic very busy. But I understand as a teacher, it's hard to get the clinic busy when you know that you're going to get met with that fight, of like them not wanting to take the client. So, that again was another issue I was running into. I'd get it busy and then everyone's fighting because no one wants it. And again, if you're a student and you notice that maybe your clinic isn't super busy and like your school might want you to kind of take that ownership of that and like getting clients, it's just because it gets so frustrating. It's like you do want to get these clients in the door, and then it's embarrassing when it's very clear that the student does not want you like as a client, and then they don't come back. So it's not doing you a service, to do that to somebody. At the end of the day, if you're in a program, you're taking clients no matter what you want to do. You have to take clients. If you have to take a job, you're gonna have to take clients. There's just no saying no to clients. So um if you notice your program doesn't really offer you a lot of clients, it's probably because they gave up on trying to get those clients for you because people were fighting it so badly. I don't know why that is. It's like people just they don't want to. They'll be like, well, her, why not her? And it's like, who cares? We're not talking about her. It's you. It's you. You're next. You're up next. It's your turn. You have to take the client. So yeah, that was like one thing I did to keep them busy as well. I'll obviously too always encouraging them to start posting on their Instagrams and posting on mom groups and getting their family and friends in. um because yeah, that's just a whole nother thing. I mean, it's really hard to get clients. So it's good to start getting them in that habit of starting to find them on their own, because as a student, obviously, or once you're out on the field, in the field, you're it's up to you to get those clients. It's up to you to start walking around, introducing yourself, passing your business cards. They do not come just because you're licensed and have a place. It does not mean that they're going to come. You have to work and get that relationship like off the ground. um Another thing I wanted to mention is sanitation. The sanitation portion. Um, yeah, we always did a very deep dive. I have a really good sanitation log. If anyone wants it, just comment below your email and I'll email it to you, and I'll let you, customize it or whatever. Um, that we implemented and it kind of helped. It's broken down so in depth, like literally down to like what I want your ass to be wiping. Like I want you to wipe these counters. It's so broken down so no one cannot do sanitation properly. I have that log, and I also made an about me page, which is very popular on the Milady Esthetician Instructor group. Basically, it's a nice little about me section. It helps you learn your student, like if they have kids, how like like what their favorite quote is, and it just kind of helps you like kind of get a gauge of who they are, and everyone loves it. Freshmen love doing that when they first come in, and usually I have the freshmen fill it out, and then all of my upperclassmen always have their sheet still, so they'll like let the new students know like this is my name and this is what like I want my specialty to be, and this is what my goal is for this program, and this is my favorite quote. So it kind of is a little bit of a bonding experience for them as well. So it's a lot of fun. So if you want that too, just send me your email down below and then I'll email it to you. But yeah, I had a good time teaching this little portion for you guys, that course curriculum breakdown. Um, I'm going to be posting theories next, so you guys will see how I teach theory and how I'm kind of going through that with my students. Again, it's all from Milady. I love Milady. Um, so yeah, so you'll start seeing some more of that breakdown. And then if my teachers need any more content to help them kind of be a better instructor or want some more help, again, just leave your email down below and let me know what you're thinking about, and we'll touch base with each other. But to all my students, I hope this helped you. Anyone who's in your program that's just working through the book, hopefully this is a better breakdown. If you have questions, again, comment below and then I'll let you know what my thoughts are and how to help you. All right, bye, babies.